Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Thanks for joining us again. We're back in the workshop. I've got another, well, I won't say a clear week because I've got some bits going on. Got a press photographer coming over tomorrow for something else that I'll let you know about later. I've actually got a list of jobs now that I need to do. Rebuild the carb, rebuild the oil tank, fit a couple of brackets, fit the side covers, fit an exhaust. There's lots to do, to be fair, but I've got a good few days this week. This is Monday morning, it's the start of the week. I'm gonna start with rebuilding the carb. It's not as cold today, actually. I can actually feel my fingers, so it's probably a good day to do it. If I can get the carb rebuilt today, sorted all out, cleaned up, put back together, adjusted, get it fitted to the inlet manifold, that'll be another big tick. Then I can put the throttle on, get that cable done. Hopefully throughout this episode, we're gonna get a lot of those jobs ticked off that list. I want to be riding it out the workshop and up the lane before Christmas. That does not look good. There's like treacle in there. Wow. Goodness me. There's not much more to it. I need to get this float out. Right, it's out. Okay. Right, that can sit there and soak. All of the components that I've got are perfectly clean. I've spent hours and hours sitting methodically cleaning all these pieces, but the little float needle is a bit damaged on the end. I've ordered a new one of those. The 3 bolts that hold the cover on the side of the float bowl, as usual with any slotted original bolts on this bike, are all knackered. So I've ordered those, I've added bits to the list for Monty's order that's arriving tomorrow, but they're not here. So that is going to have to precariously sit on hold. I don't really want to start assembling it until I've got everything I need. Luckily, I've got various workbenches in the workshop, so I can just turn around and aim for this workbench. Let's start a new project before the first one's finished. I hate doing it and leaving things in pieces, but I can't progress anymore with that. And we need to get this running on Saturday. This is the oil tank. This is a pain. This has been bugging me for a while. Because I fitted the silly Bates seat, the oil filler and breather on the top of the tank now hit the seat. The original seat hinged out the way and was much more hollow. So all of these fixings on the top of the tank are bang in the way of the seat. And obviously I need access to that filler cap. I've also noticed a crack on the top on one of the mounting points. Now it's nice and clean. So some work to do on this tank, but I'm just gonna spend the rest of the afternoon sitting, chopping this all up and making new pieces and welding it back together, hopefully. It's off. Bingo! Perfect! Now I just need to weld that in place. Basically the idea is the oil's gone round the engine, through the pump, back to the tank, goes up that tube, the top of the tube's capped off and there's a little hole in it. So the idea is you look through the filler, take the cap off, look through the big hole where you fill the oil, and see that tube with the hole. So when the engine's running, you can take the cap off and see that there is actually oil returning. So you know for sure the oil pump is actually working and oil is going around the engine. It's quite a clever idea, I quite like it. Problem is, by moving the filler neck meant that that tube needed to move as well. So I've kind of cut the back open and I've heated the tube and manipulated it and bent it around, snaked it. It was a bit long, so I've snaked it around a bit so I can now see it through the new location of the filler. I'm slightly worried that the hole is aiming out the filler, so I don't know how much pressure there's going to be, but there's a chance that you take the lid off and it will just be shooting out at out the hole. So I might try and tweak that, maybe ever so slightly, but it's looking good. So I've got the old filler hole, the old vent hole that I need to do something with, the new hole that I've just drilled with a hole saw, filed it round with a little belt sander, and I've got this tacked in place now, and I'm going to commit and weld that on. When I took this back off, it was still filthy in there, absolutely filthy. So there's a bit of a note for everybody out there that's restoring one of these bikes. Even if you think you've got the tank clean, my goodness, inside it was still thick sludge all around the edge. You just could not get in there. So now I've taken the opportunity while the back's off to get right in there, and it is spotless in there now. That's good. Right, I'm gonna fire up the welder and get this filler neck welded in place. Then I can start filling up all of these holes. Well, what a raging success that has been. My oil tank is finished. I've cleaned the sort of the filter sort of mesh inside. That fitting's fitted on the bottom. That's all good. My brackets are welded back on the top. The breather now slimline, reduced in height, and the filler cap been relocated to the front. The triangle that I cut out the back, I've TIG welded that with some bronze, welded that back in place. Filler used to be there, now it's gone. That has been reduced in height and I've brazed that on as well. Stuck the brackets back on and my filler neck is now on the front. And you know what that means? Where's my Sharpie? Oh no, where's my pen? After all this. Right, modify oil tank. Yes. Oh yes, brilliant. Certainly got some work to do I might trim these a bit shorter, so I've got a bit of flexi hose to join these two with these two. That one's a bit close to the frame, but that'll be okay. I can sneak that out the way. There's a bit of adjustment there. And these are bendy. I can move these, I'll trim these down a little bit, move them out of the way. Bit of flexi between the two. Done, it's mounted. And then the breather is there, slimline breather, sits underneath the level of the seat. Right, as you can see, it's very late in the day. It's Tuesday night, 3 days left until Saturday when John hopefully is going to come up and we're going to get the bike running. I'm going home to have some dinner. I'll see you in the morning and we'll see if we can get some more things ticked off that list tomorrow. We kind of have to because 2 is not good enough. Here we go, another day. Well, to be honest, I didn't sleep well last night. I was laying in bed just thinking, just on my mind, what is wrong with this clutch? I've had some issues with the clutch. I think the cable was a bit too long, so I've got that longer sort of split collet to go at the end. It just wasn't quite right. It was, I don't know what was wrong, but it wasn't quite right. So I got in first thing this morning anyway, fitted the chain, which was boring. I didn't film it. I just fitted the chain so I could put it in gear to enable me to take the clutch off. I've had the whole clutch back off again, right back to nothing. The hub center, the clutch hub off again. I'm so glad I bought that puller. Everything's been off, looked through everything, put it all back together. Classic, take it apart, put it back together. And now, fingers crossed, it seems to be okay. I haven't got the side cover on yet, but I think I can tick some things off. And it's not even lunchtime yet, and that's 2 big things I can tick off.
I know you'd leave me to die on the road. I know you'd leave me out here in the cold. I know you'd leave me with a load of nothing to my name. And if you had a second chance, you'd do it again.
So far so good. Well, I didn't do that before.
You say I'm weak when I'm being kind. I'm ripping out pages, reading your mind. It takes 2 to tango, but I'm dancing on my own. Well, this loneliness, I was being alone.
So I've replaced this. Upgraded this to a little brass one. This is the float needle to make sure that it doesn't leak. It goes in there. This works similar to like the toilet cistern almost. So when this eventually gets full of fuel, and this black piece is it floats. It's a float. So as the fuel level fills up, that lifts up, and then as it lifts up, it pushes on the end of that brass float needle, which pushes up there into where the fuel comes in and stops the fuel coming in anymore. So that tiny little bit of brass, that float needle, if the end of that is worn and lets fuel past, then you run the risk of fuel running through and over-fueling, it will fill up the float bowl, run from here into the engine and cause problems. I'm not putting any sealant or anything on there. I don't think I should need to, and partly because I'm fully expecting to have to take this back off again when something doesn't work. That's the choke that closes there, stops too much air getting through. The throttle slide there goes up and down. Perfect, it seems to be working. Wednesday has been a good day. The carb has been completely rebuilt. That's all together and fitted and on and looking good. The throttle cable is on. I've just been to the shops to get all the oil that I need. I've got the sort of short ends coming out of the tank, and they need to connect up to the longer pipes that go into the oil pump, into the engine. I've got a little bit of flexible hose, a couple of Jubilee clips. I'm going to trim that down, bend them to shape, force them in there, hook those up, and then I can actually fill the oil tank with oil, which is very exciting. Starting to put fluids in. I've got the gearbox oil as well, that can also go in. I can't put the clutch side oil in yet because I haven't got the side cover on. I'm not quite brave enough to put that on yet. Oh, we're getting close, we are getting close. First fluids in. the oil is in the tank, and considering how many pieces that tank was cut into, how many holes it had in it, the fact that it's not leaking all over the floor, I'm pretty chuffed with. Adjust tappets, I've done that. It's, oil pipes, done. Oil lines. Next up is the headlight, which I'm not going to film too much of because I've remembered exactly why I didn't actually finish it, and it's been sitting hanging half off all this time. Because you guys told me off. You all said that it was going to bend and snap and fatigue, the aluminium was going to break, and nobody liked it. So I've added a couple of braces on the back. So hopefully you approve now. And I've painted it black so it blends in a little bit more with the back of the forks. The headlight's on, the rear light's on, we're ticking things off, and that's the door, 2 seconds. This could be exciting. This could be exciting. Yes, here we go. That is from Ace Classics in London. They make Desert Racer kind of parts, reproductions of old original ones from sort of California days. What we got? What we got? Exhaust clamps. Oh, yes. Yes. And then new bits there, perfect. I made a little bracket, zapped it onto the frame, which I am very worried about because all of the electronic ignition is now wired into the frame, and I've just been welding next to it, and I've put the earth near it, hopefully it's okay. A little massage here and there because this exhaust is not meant for this bike, it's meant for a bigger bike. But it's on, it's a bit long, I think I'm going to cut them down. But they're on. They're literally on. It looks good.
Well, it's the end of a very busy week. I didn't film anything on Friday. It was just buttoning up little bits, nuts and bolts here and there. But the bike is looking good. There's still plenty to do, but it's now Saturday morning. Dan is here. Hello, Dan.
Hiya.
John is on the way, and we're hopefully, fingers crossed, going to get the bike running and finished today. But you're going to have to wait for next week to see that because this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you next time. Right, where's the broom? The carb's been rebuilt. Brother Dan's done the wiring. I've saved some bits for you.
I mean, it looks really good.